Pleasure to welcome to the show part of the team at Laidlaw College, Dr. Mark Keown. Mark, kia ora. Nice to have you on the show
Yes,
again. Good to see you again.
yes, kia ora, Andrew. Hope you're well.
Doing very well indeed. I was listening to a disturbing interview the other day about how the robots are coming to get us. AI, it's going to skew our elections. It's going to change the way in which we do life. And I've seen the movies, Mark. The thing that I'm deeply worried about is that the point when the robots, the artificial intelligence, realise that the most dangerous thing on the planet is us, and the best thing that they could do for climate change is to remove us from the equation. Perhaps I've seen too many dystopian movies, but I mean, AI is a reality. It affects all aspects of life, including evangelism, including apologetics.
It does. And I've just actually been using AI myself as I'm researching ancient Greek. I found a tool you can cut and paste ancient Greek
Okay.
into a translation, AI translation, and it will spit out perfect English. And it's a
Wow.
really good translation. So this is something I've been looking for years. So it's a great thing in many ways, isn't it? The thing that really gets me is the opportunity that AI gives us to think about ourselves in that sense. So I'm not saying we're AI
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
if we say we're artificially intelligence, then we aren't real, and we are determined, and someone is running our lives.
Yeah.
But I kind of think that what it does for us is it gives us an opportunity when we're talking about who humans are and what humans are, to sort of suggest to a person that, hey, especially an atheist who doesn't believe in God, or even an agnostic, and say to them, we're starting to create robots now. We're starting to create beings that can perform all sorts of functions.
Yep.
Project ourselves 1,000 years and imagine what we're going to be creating, and then think about ourselves. We are so much more complex. The human brain cell is so much more complex than thousands of computers put together, that we can start to see ourselves in that sense, and it really helps us to say, hey, there's got to be a creator.
Yeah.
Because we're creating. So I think it's I've been playing around with this a bit when I've been talking to atheists, and and it's really knocking them.
Yeah.
Because the cause and effect thing. So by the way, did you know this, that the opposite of artificial intelligence is either synthetic or
Mm-hmm.
natural intelligence? Did you know that?
Okay. Yeah. Which one? Which category humans are in the natural intelligence? Hopefully, that's the case, Mark.
Well, I don't know about intelligence. I mean, some of us may be slotted into that space, but I mean, I like to think that we're designed being, and I mean, the other thing that this tells us is how ridiculous our God is and how
Mm-hmm.
amazing He is.
Yeah.
And I sort of thought of these. We're organic,
Mm-hmm.
so we grow. We're sensory, we feel, we're volitional, and that's where we're different to the kind of robots. We will program robots to a certain extent, and they'll only work within that framework.
Yeah.
Somehow, the technology that sort of created us has given us that capacity to choose, and so we're volitional and we're intelligent. Well, are we? So if you put that together, you come up with the word nosvi.
Mm-hmm.
Natural, organic, sensory, volitional intelligence created by God.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that leads us to the question, okay, which God? And then we can talk about Jesus.
Yeah.
Because all good apologetics ends up on Jesus.
Yeah, and again, both natural and cosmic intelligence in that regard, and the idea of the creator of the world becoming one of us, entering our worlds. Great thing to focus on, especially as we're heading towards Easter.
Yeah, and so what we see in Jesus is we see the end game of what we're created to be. We see a person who's just wholly and totally given over to the service of the other, washing feet as he did just before he went to the cross, eating a meal with Judas, who was about to betray him and kill him, eating a meal with Peter and the others who were going to deny him. And we see what it means to be fully human, what it means to be God's natural or synthetic intelligence.
Now, of course, the metaphor used to be back in the day, the blind watchmaker, or you remember the story of if a hurricane goes through a junkyard and assembles
Yes.
a Boeing or that sort of thing, that this is evidence of a designer in the inherent design. Part of the complication in this one for some people, perhaps, Mark, is that now AI is designing stuff, and it's doing it within its own resources. It's doing it with less input from human beings. In some ways, AI systems, Chat GPT, and however you want to translate your Greek and Hebrew, has this become the blind watchmaker in this scenario, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think we could. I don't think we would want to become deists. The blind is this idea of God threw it all together and it's just happening. I think our God is involved and dynamically involved in that. But I do think that it gives us a framework that we can start thinking about humanity. There's another thing called simulation theory, which has this idea that kind of those who watch The Matrix will get it immediately, that we're actually being controlled from outside of ourselves. I don't think we need to go that far. And if that's true, it's real. But I think that what it does is it gives us a framework to think about how we can take a person from that place of doubting the existence of a God to saying, well, there must be a God. There's a creator. And then, of course, we say who, and then we've got Jesus.
Yeah.
So I like to track in that way. And by the way, this is not the answer to all our apologetic woes.
Oh, no, certainly.
An atheist will find a way out.
Exactly. I do like the digital simulation model, though, and yeah, the first Matrix movie, the other two were rubbish. That was a descending spiral of creativity right there. But the first Matrix movie, that idea that we are perhaps in a digital simulation, that there is another world being pulled down over our eyes, to me that just says, well, there's another reality. It's a spiritual reality. What we think is real isn't what's important. What's important is the spiritual reality. We just need to open our eyes and see it. Now, that doesn't need to involve a blue or a red pill. In fact, I wouldn't advise it. But talking about the fact that there's different realities and everything is not as we seem, I mean, it's not just a great film. It's reasonable theology. Would you agree with that?
I think so. I mean, a lot of atheists will find the answer to the origin of life in aliens.
Yeah.
So there's another category we can say now, yeah, well, we're really not talking much different. We're talking about someone outside of our our universe.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I think this just opens up a whole world of thought, and I think you can corner people. Like you can corner a person and turn them from an atheist into maybe an agnostic, and maybe an agnostic into a theist. Getting them to actually step over into Christian faith, I think, actually requires the power of God, and that's where prayer comes in. But these are all tools to sort of, I think, excite the imagination. So I want us Christians to get excited about these sort of things and seeing how we can harness them and use them for sharing the gospel today.
And I suppose using our imaginations, not just relying on the robots and AI and everything, although sometimes, I must say, as a Laidlaw student, it's tempting to get some artificial intelligence responses, particularly when it comes to filling out a bibliography. But actually, it's a case of starting where people are at. If there are people in our environment, in people that we come across who are worried about AI, who are worried about climate change, who are worried about what is real and what isn't real and what is actually truth, then starting where they're at rather than just saying, okay, here we go, here's my script, here's my 4 spiritual laws, tick the box at the end. Walking alongside people, talking about things that they're concerned about, this is the way that we can help open their eyes to go back to the Matrix.
That's right. I heard there's a wonderful woman in Auckland who's written a doctoral thesis, and she talks about evangelisning.
Wow.
Instead of evangelism, evangelisning. And I kind of think that that's right. And so the world of people today is the world of Netflix. It's the world of fantasy. It's the world of Marvel. The more that we can step into those spaces, see that and consider that come out. But the other thing that it leads me to, Andrew, is it makes me want to worship God more.
Yeah.
Because when I see our rudimentary, and our science is rudimentary, attempt to create, robots and creatures and things, and they're sort of these clunky beings. Now we realize what we are dealing with God.
Yeah.
and God is just, we're coming into Easter. Let's give God a really good Easter.
Yeah.
Let's really worship him. And our Jesus who stepped into this place as sort of the ultimate natural intelligence to show us what intelligence really is, and live that into Easter, live it out beyond Easter as well.
Mark, certainly some food for thought. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. That was a bunch of fun.
Yeah, it was a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I thought it would be a fun conversation. We'll do the other one next time.
Yeah, no, happy to do that. And thank you for your flexibility in going for a Friday instead of, because it's usually a Tuesday.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Grandson's birthday and all that. So you got out. Yeah. I got a better offer, Mark, honestly. And that was good. But hey, hope you have a good weekend, and nice to see you again. Yeah.
See you, mate.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.